All right. Welcome, everyone. So today we are going to talk about this crazy thing called the GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation. And so we're going to give it just a couple of minutes to get everyone to get a chance to get online so that they don't miss anything. If you're watching this, you're probably watching it as a recording unless you attended the live event. So just be mindful of that. Hi, Rachel. All right, so I know everyone is kind of freaking out about this whole GDPR thing. I actually started seeing it, I don't know, a month or two ago in just some random blog posts that I came across, and really didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it really applied to me, but now as we're getting closer to the deadline, I'm realizing that, oh my gosh, yes, it does apply to us bloggers. So I'm going to kind of go through and hit the high points, like the main things, kind of explain what it's about, and then try to put your mind at ease as far as, I keep getting comments, people sending me private messages like, should I just shut my blog down altogether because I can't keep up with this stuff, and I sure don't have 20 million euros to pay somebody. And the reality is I don't think it's going to be like that. That while the deadline is coming up as May 25th, and again, I am not an attorney. I should have probably said that first. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a legal person. This is not legal advice that you can come back and sue me for if I get it wrong. I've simply gone through all of the different documents, also attended several podcasts and webinars in which actual attorneys were deciphering it. And so based on my notes and, my own readings is how I've, kind of put this training together. So, all right, let us hop over here. All right, so many of you may have already seen the post that I put out that kind of broke everything down. So I'm going to kind of use this to guide us through the different parts. And so what is this thing? So basically, we've had recently all of these compromised the data breaches, like Facebook had a data breach, in past years. Kohl's and different companies, our personal information gets hacked because of, breaches in security or, holes in the security that are set up by these big companies. And the reality is, we live in a digital world now. And so aside from moving out to the middle of nowhere, cutting off all communications with the real world, this is just something that we're going to have to deal with and, learn and kind of go forward from that point. It's not something we can avoid. Everything you do, you being on here right now, attending this training, you're on the internet. And even if you have the best internet security software, you can still get hacked. I've had the top software inside, even when I was in the military, we've had the top stuff to protect our computers, and we still get hacked. I mean, the hackers, I just wish they would put their talents to better use, and do good for the world instead of making everyone else's life difficult. But so it's just really it really amounts to learning how to protect yourself. And so as a blogger, when you have a website, just like you're here, when you come to my website or you go to a website to shop or whatever, the fact that it is on the internet opens it up for things to happen. So we have to make sure we have those controls in place so that when people come to our websites, their information is not compromised. The same expectation you would have when you visit a website, you now have to make sure you provide that specifically to the citizens of the EU, but we also have some of these same requirements here in America. The EU just goes kind of a little more in depth with it and puts a few more safeguards, which is actually not a bad thing. It just kind of makes it a pain in the butt for those of us who are, have no money and don't know what the heck we're doing, and we're trying to learn this whole thing. So, all right. So who must comply? Here are just some basic, if you do this, then yes. Most of us use Google Analytics, but you could be using any analytics. If you have, like on WordPress, you have Jetpack. There's other analytic tracking. And if you are using your blog for the purpose of, making money and doing things like that, you need to be tracking the people that are coming to your site to see what's working and how to adjust your game plan. Almost every single website uses cookies. And that is, when you go visit a website, it kind of tracks that you've been there. So when you come back, your spot is saved or whatever. We use it as affiliates. So a tracking cookie, if you click on my link to visit, whatever company I'm talking about, but then you don't want to buy it today, the cookie is still there saying you came to you came to that site. So in 15 days, when you finally decide you want to purchase whatever thing, I would still earn the commission because your cookie is there. So whether you've intentionally set it up or not, once your blog goes live, cookies are kind of already there. You can disable them up in your little thing here. I'm on Chrome. Different search or browsers have it in a different spot. So cookies can be disabled, and when they do that, some functions of the website may not work. And we're going to get to the privacy and disclosures in a minute, but okay, so cookies. So even if you don't collect email addresses, even if you disable your Google Analytics and all that other stuff, your website probably still has cookies on it. And that is tracking the visitors that come to your site. And then, of course, if you collect direct credit card payment, you have your own payment gateway, like PayPal or Stripe or something like that for products that you physically sell, not through another platform. Like your affiliates, they deal with all the money and just send you a check. So that's not what I'm talking about. But also anything that's linked from your site. So if you link to, like, say I'm writing about SiteGround, my web host. When you click on that link and it goes to SiteGround's website, SiteGround has cookies and tracking and stuff on their site. And so anything you do on your blog or your website, whatever you have, is in some manner, shape, fashion, or form collecting some form of data from the people that are visiting you. And that data is used for specific reasons. Again, credit card information, stuff like that's obvious. And then the final one is the emails. We all want our email list so that we can do email marketing and increase our reach and our blog income and things like that. So the biggest areas that you're going to need to focus on, and most of you watching this are actually brand new or fairly new, so you don't have huge email lists. You're probably just getting your blog up and running, so you don't have a whole lot of content. And so this really isn't like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get all this done, as most are thinking it's going to be. And also, like I said, I attended some webinars where actual attorneys in this kind of law have said, we can't even figure out what the language means. We think it means this, but we're not sure. So just anytime anything brand new is rolled out anywhere, they're going to have an implement date, and then they're going to have a period of time after that to work out all the kinks that maybe they didn't think about. And so it's not like this goes into effect on May 25th, and then May 26th, if you miss something, you're going to have to pay that 20 million euros. It's not going to happen that way. There's going to be more and more information being handed down, more very specific guidance that says this is exactly what you must do. Because in all honesty, this whole regulation was drafted in the verbiage used was really to directed towards the big companies. And so there's not like a line item that says specifically this is what bloggers need to do. And so while the majority of this stuff is way over our heads, we don't even deal with that stuff. We kind of have to sift through it to find the pieces of it that actually apply to what we do. So as I'm going through this, for those of you catching it live, please drop questions in the comments. That way I can make sure I address them, or if I go too fast, just stop me and I'll kind of go back over it. So, all right, so 3 main areas you have to address to be compliant. And again, we are talking about for people who are from the EU, the European Union, that are visiting your site. Now, you can find out who they are from Google Analytics, but there are some tracking that they're not sure where the person comes from, and so it'll be like other, and so they could be from that as well. So you have to have a lawful basis for collecting and processing their data. Now, the whole term collecting and processing data sounds really technical, and well, I don't collect and process anything. I just get their email. In like normal, like dumb it down terms for those of us that aren't all legal people, it just means you're collecting their email. You are using that email to send them information later. You collected it, and now you're the processing of it is where you're actually utilizing that information you collected. Okay, their IP address, the analytics of where they live. So that's being collected. Now, how are you using it? Well, you're using it to see if you need to adjust some of your marketing or your Facebook ads or things like that based on where your audience is coming from. So the second part of it is you have to ensure that you obtain consent in an obvious and transparent manner. Now, this is the one that's going to affect us the most because we've always been, I don't want to say sneaky, but not outright obvious in like our opt-in forms and lead magnets. Enter your email to get this freebie, and then you don't actually tell them, by the way, I'm also going to add you to my email list and send you emails later. It's sort of implied. People go to a website and do that. They kind of assume. Assumed consent is no longer allowed. And again, this is specific to the EU, and there are ways that you can segregate your email list if you get a lot of traffic from the EU, or for those of you bloggers that are actually living in the EU, this is really important. Okay, so the second part of this specific one, you cannot make signing up for your email list a precondition of getting the goodie, the freebie. So where we say, enter your details, and then you'll give them, once they confirm and all that, then you give them the goodie. And this one for me, I had to go back and change every single one of mine because that's how I had mine set up previously. So you can't do that anymore. If you're offering it free, you have to give it free whether or not they want to join your email list. And I know that may be like, oh, well, that's the whole point of me giving them the freebie, so I can get them on my email list. Okay, think about this. And this is kind of a side note before we go further. When it comes to building your email list, the whole point of the email list is to get people on it who are actually interested in what you are putting out. They're interested in your content. They want to learn from you. And there goes my dogs. Got a guy mowing the yard. Okay. And so if they don't want to join their email list, you making them is really not helping you anyway, because they're going to be that person that never opens your emails. You want people on your email list who want to be on your email list because they want to receive the stuff you're sending them. You don't want 10,000 people on your email list just to say, I have 10,000 people. You want to have, even if you just had 100 people and every single one of them opens your email, that is more productive than having this super huge one. So let's kind of shift focus, because I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose half my email list if I do this. That's fine. Go and look at your analytics to see how many people are actually opening your email list, emails that are on your list right now. So in a nutshell, this is a great way to do that spring cleaning of your email list that I've talked about in the past. Okay, so there are ways with the opt-in forms, and all of the companies are slowly getting this out. Some have done it already. Just this morning, I got an email from MailerLite, which is my email service. I got one from Opt-in Monster, which is who I use for my opt-in and lead magnet forms, that they are adding functions to, when you create a form, they're adding the things necessary for you to make it compliant. So you still have to do the work, but they're giving you the tools to do that now and make it not so difficult. And we're going to go into that. And we're going to talk about the cookies and the privacy statement and all that and how to do that. And then, we'll talk about this in a minute. And this is totally, your choice. Again, most of you watching this are new and you don't have a super huge list anyway. I sent out, many of you got it, an email that said I created a new subscriber list, called it Girl Bosses Rock New. And I entered the URL to subscribe to that list, and I sent out an email to every subscriber I have from both of my blogs and said, hey, here's the deal. You know, we've all heard about this GDPR thing, blah, 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 whatever. And so if you would like to continue receiving emails from Girl Bosses Rock, please subscribe to this new list. And on May 24th, anyone who has not subscribed or confirmed, I will be deleting those lists. And so I was, over the next 2 days, I was like, gosh, I hope, you know, these people like resubscribe because then I'll have to start over. But, you know, I checked it this morning and over half of my entire list has already subscribed to my new list. So those are the people I want, the ones who are truly interested in what I have to say. The ones who don't, well, they probably weren't opening my emails anyway. So that's fine. Okay. Okay, you must ensure that you comply with the rules to protect the data and be prepared to be held accountable. I've seen this in several group threads where, you know, it's like, oh, they're not really talking about us. They're looking for the big people like Google, Yahoo, whatever. In the beginning, yes, this is who their primary target is. But the reality is we at this low level, us measly old little bloggers here, we handle people's information. And we need to be responsible for that information, because if your website got hacked, put it this way, if you were following someone or visiting my website, let's say, because y'all all follow me and you trust what I put out, and then my site got hacked because I didn't implement the controls necessary to prevent it, y'all would probably be pretty upset with me that now your information is out there and who knows what they're going to do with it. You need to think like that. You are dealing with people's information. You need to protect it. And if that doesn't get you, well, I don't know about you, but I personally don't have 20 million euros in the bank just sitting there. So that is the possible fine that you could endure if you don't do these things. Are they going to come after you this year? No, they're not. Most likely. You know, it's going to take a while for this to trickle down, and they're probably still implementing their controls of how they're going to enforce this and whatever. But you need to be responsible. This is a business, and you need to treat it as such. I'm just going to look here at the notes real quick. Kimberly says, I just fixed all my freebies so they don't say newsletter. Got to go back and change it. Yeah, and this sucks, you know. And all of us bloggers who blog about blogging or social media or whatever, we're all having to go back and change what we've previously been teaching. And, you know, it's like crap. But this is the reality of online business. From day to day, things will change. You know, Pinterest changed some of their algorithms. Facebook changed some of theirs. So this isn't like, okay, I've taught y'all this, now go on your merry way. No, this is an ever-evolving thing, and it will continue to evolve, and we just have to adjust accordingly. So Kimberly also says, if we already had a double opt-in where people signed up, do we still need to send an email to our subscribers to let them know the new rules? You know, I would just to double confirm, you know, I mean, unless you have like this super huge list and every single one of them, I mean, what are you truly going to lose by doing it? At least by doing it, you have uncontestable evidence that you told them what you were required by law to tell them if they are from the EU, because you can go back and track how they confirmed and then show the form. I mean, you can track all of that, and that's part of this too. You have to be prepared to be held accountable and show evidence. So if someone says, well, I never opted into that, you got to be able to go back and say, well, yes, you did. You at this date and time using this form, and then there's an image of the form there to show what controls you had in place. And that's how these mail systems like MailerLite and all these other ones, they are implementing that stuff so that we have that ability without having to keep track of it ourselves. Alice says, I'm having flashbacks of Facebook, and this is our punishment. Yeah, they're just trying to keep us on our toes. I look at it as a good thing because, you know, you get complacent in what you do and bad things happen. I'm from the military. You know, complacency doesn't do any good to anyone. So keep you on your toes, learning things new. Imagine this, a year from now, you guys are going to be like total experts on this whole GDPR thing, which probably a week ago, you didn't even know what that meant. So just kind of look at the positive in it. Does a double opt-in and a privacy basically covers? Okay, we're going to go into that a little more specifically. as we go down through here. All right, so specific actions. And, you know, you can read, I do have here somewhere links, these orange texts are links to GDPR websites, like the actual ones from the UK, and it's all in legal jargon, so it's really hard to decipher, but you can read through it, and I encourage you to do that because, again, I am not an attorney, so you do need to further research to make sure you're doing what you need to do. But in a nutshell, cookies are first. You know, an email is typically not your first interaction with someone. They came to your website. This is super, super easy. There's a plugin. Just go to your plugins. We'll do that right now. Just to show you how easy it is. Go to plugins, add new. And then here, just type you can do GDPR and see what comes up, or just type in cookies. You can do this one. I just did the cookies one. And I'm using Cookie Notice by dFactory. And so what that does, it's not going to do it now because I'm logged in. But when you first land on my website, this black thing is going to pop up right across here. It's like a scroll bar. And you may have seen this on other blogs. And it says this site uses cookies, blah, blah, blah. And then there's a button that says, okay, I understand. That's how you notify them that your site uses cookies. My opinion, if you visit a website, you should know it uses cookies, but we cannot assume that people know that. So it's as simple as adding that plugin. Oh, and the plugins are free. Okay. Next, where am I at here? Site security. This is a big one. I've been talking about this for a while. If you are still HTTP, you need to fix that. Regardless of this EU policy, this GDPR, you should have HTTPS because people are coming to your site and what they do on your site needs to be protected. All it is encryption. Most, like if you use SiteGround or Bluehost or whatever, hosting companies, it's a free part of your plan. And even if it's not, it should not be a super big expense. The expense for you not doing it could be a heck of a lot more. So find out through your hosting provider how to get your HTTPS. There's a lot of sites I won't even go to and click around on because they're HTTP. And if you are monetizing your blog or you ever intend to sell specifically, you sell your own things, nobody's going to give you their credit card information because this little thing here is not saying secure. All right? Think about when you go to websites. So please, please, please do what you have to do to get your site converted over to HTTPS. Aside from that, there's other things that you can add. I have a Kismet, and there's several different ones. I mean, some of them you can get through your hosting provider. Like there was one through SiteGround that you can add, but I already had a Kismet. It's anti-spam, and it has other things on it to protect, you know, nasty people from doing nasty things. Because when they leave those spam comments, if they add links to the comments, those links could also contain viruses and malware and all that stuff. So just like with your computer and you get like McAfee or Norton or whatever to protect your computer, you need to protect your website, okay? It's all about protecting your investment, your business, whatever, and protecting your bank account because if you ever get sued, well, you're not going to have any more money. So, all right. Plugins, go through your plugins. If you're not using them, there's a lot of plugins that come, like with WordPress, that they just come with it. Delete them if you're not using them. If you have multiple plugins for like the same purpose, because you were trying them out, delete the ones you decided not to use. Anytime you get a notice of an update, make sure you do the update because those updates include security stuff, anti-spam and all that kind of stuff. Always do your updates. Okay, privacy policy and disclosure. We're going to talk about that one in a minute because we're going to go through it and Mine is here, and I keep adding and working on it. So the one that's on it today, it may look a little different tomorrow as I read more and more and look at other examples to make sure I'm covering everything. Just want to mention, have one on there. If it's not the best one in the world, and I don't know if mine contains everything it needs to contain because I haven't used an attorney, but like I said, even the attorneys right now are not sure exactly what it's supposed to say. But at least you're making an attempt, and that is actually written in part of the GDPR language, is that businesses are making an attempt to comply. If you just said, to heck with it, I'm not doing anything, well, then you're in violation. But if you're actually making steps to implement said policies, then you're going in the right direction, and you're not going to have anything to worry about. So you can click on mine and look at the layout and the things that are contained on it. There's very specific things that have to be on there, but the wording of it is subject to interpretation. Okay, so we'll come back to that. So your opt-in forms and your lead magnets. All right, so this is the one everybody's freaking out about. Ensure you make it clear on your form that providing their email address, they understand you're adding them to your email list. You must also inform them of the exact nature of what you will be using their email for. Specifically, all right, and we're going to talk about some examples of this in just a second. Ensure you provide a specific tick box. By the way, the tick box is one of the added measures all of the opt-in and MailerLite, all those companies are adding. If they didn't already have it, they're all providing this, so you now can add it to your forms. You cannot check that box. You have to leave it blank, and that box will say, for them to click. And let me click over here to mine, just so I can show you. Actually, I can show you on. What clicking? I'm still updating my plugins, by the way. I have too many tabs open, so that's why it's loading so slow. All right, so Opt-in Monster hasn't added the box yet. So I'm going to do this one second because it's a little more detailed. But here's one of the boxes. Like I have these in my, like on my sidebar and things like that. Double opt-in, so you have the confirmation and the thank you page. So you can add this little box here. So whatever you're saying, and then, the thing for the email, and then confirmation checkbox text. Make sure you put something. If you erase it, it actually doesn't even show up. So all you have to do is write something in here. Yes, please add me to your list. Yes, please add me to your newsletter. And they have to click this. You can't pre-click it for them to uncheck, which I've seen people do in the past, okay? And so they enter their details. And here's my confirmation page. And some of you may have seen this already. And I went back, and that's what I've been doing all week, is because I had like a ton of forms out there. I just kind of consolidated them. So when they go check their email, this is what I get them. By confirming above, you are granting permission for Girl Bosses Rock to send you additional emails, which may include new blog posts, tips and resources related to blogging and business, and our monthly newsletter. I don't send emails that don't fall into that category. I don't send emails. It's just like, hey, how you doing? I know some bloggers do that. That's just not mine. Now, intermixed with the blogging information, I may be like, hey, what's up? Or like the one on my newsletter that had me in a prom dress. But the point of that correspondence was to send you vital information related to business and blogging topics, okay? And so that's where they're saying you have to let them know what you're doing with that information. So you can't collect their email for a giveaway, like you're giving away a planner, or you're giving away whatever. You need the email for the giveaway, but you have to allow them to still participate in the giveaway and still tell you, I don't want to subscribe to your list. You have to tell them what you would be using their email for if you're going to collect it. You could say, by subscribing to this list, I will be adding you to my email, and this is what I will be sending you. So whatever it is you blog about, and we'll be sending people tips and tricks for saving money, or products that can help you as a new mom, or, you know, whatever. We promise to never send you spam, and will never sell, trade, or otherwise share your information or your email with third parties. You can read more about our privacy policy here. So that privacy policy that we're going to get to, you need to link it in the email. They need to be able to read your policy before they agree to giving you the information. It's as easy as linking it right there, okay? And then once confirmed, you can stop receiving our emails at any time by clicking the unsubscribe button that will be at the very bottom of every future email, which it's not on this because this is a confirmation, but after they subscribe and start receiving your regular emails, you need to have that button right here. And I'll show you mine just so you can see, okay? All right, so they're like, okay, yes, I want on the list. The thank you page. Subscription confirm. Woohoo, I'm so super excited. You know, you can say what you want. This is just how I talk, so that's also how I write. If you haven't already, and then just reminds them to check on, if you have like a resource page, just remind them, hey, here's a link, check it out. They may have forgotten about it, because that's a place that you have hopefully monetized, and it also brings more traffic to your website, okay? Done. That is my sidebar subscribe to me, which this one actually said stay on the list, but the one that's on my sidebar says get on the list. So this is, if you enter your email here, there's no doubt you're subscribing because you want to be on my list. I still have to confirm that you want to be on my list. Rachel says, with that email that you sent out and then got a confirmation email after, how did you make it? Was it my emails are all done. If the email came from you opting in, then the emails are coming from MailerLite. If you emailed me at like Leanne@GirlBossesRock, that's through like some other thing. But all of my forms, the emails are generated through MailerLite. I use Opt-in Monster for some of these fancy forms, but it's still tied to my MailerLite, so it all comes through that. Okay, so that is that. Now let's go over here to, now that they're on their list and you're sending them out your welcome sequence, whatever you're sending them. Let's see, I think I did it for my May newsletter. View the email. And this would be the same as an email. This just happened to be a newsletter that I sent out this week. So there's the email, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is because I'm looking at it in the view. This isn't on there when they see it. So you'll notice on the bottom of my emails now, which I didn't have this before, I have a link to my affiliate disclosure, which link, you know, it's created in my blog on a page. My privacy policy and my policy and terms of use. Again, always let them have the ability to review your privacy policy. And then I tell them you're receiving this email because you subscribed. If you no longer wish to receive it, you can unsubscribe below. And then I just say, but I'll miss you. So you have to have that unsubscribe button. I've been receiving emails this week and really kind of scrutinizing them from different things I'm signed up for. And I cannot for the life of me find out how to unsubscribe because I get a lot of junk mail and their button is like nowhere to be found. That's a big no-no. You have to give them outright in your face. They don't have to search for it. Access to your privacy policy. You need to have your affiliate disclosure. That's not part of GDPR. That's just, you need to let them know if you're using links. But they have to be able to unsubscribe without, you know, having to give you a sample of their DNA, so to speak. Okay? So that's that one. Any emails you get from me from now on should have that standard format in the footer. If it doesn't, if you get one randomly because you're on one of my lists, until I've deleted everything, let me know just so I can go back and check it. Same thing in your automation sequence. If you've set up automation, make sure you go in and adjust the forms in there, the emails that go out. I went through and this is just a side bit of information. If you use, like I use Teachable for my school, and so I had it set up where when you enrolled in a course, it automatically added you to my email list. First, it added you to the email list for that student, for that course, and then you receive like 1 to 3 different emails relating to the course, and then it automatically added you to the Girl Bosses Rock subscriber list, and then you started getting my regular emails. I went back and changed all of that, and so now in my course itself, for those of you who have taken it, you can go back and look. The very first lesson in the course, which is just, you hit start or whatever, now includes, like before they even go into the course, if you would like to continue receiving or would like to receive additional emails, be sure to get on my email list where I will, and then I tell them what I send out. And that way they're voluntarily joining my list. I can't start sending them emails without them giving me permission. And so just be sure if you're using other things outside of your blog, like a Teachable platform or something like that, make sure you have a way for them to opt in. I was using Zapier, which is an integration thing. I totally got rid of that, which totally saved me like 25 bucks a month. And I figured out a backdoor way to do it. So now everyone who takes the courses voluntarily joins, which is what I want. I want people who are like, yes, I want to get more emails from her because she sends great information. So by the way, if you're sending emails, make sure they're quality. Make sure it's like something you would want to get if someone was emailing you, okay? I get a lot of emails because I sign up for a lot of stuff. That's how I learned a lot of what I'm doing. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, these people just send me stuff. And I'm like, who has time to read all this crap? But that's what they're sending. And so I end up unsubscribing because it's of no value to me. All right, so now let's come over here to, okay, this is a big one. I want to give them a freebie so I can get them on my email list, right? Can't do that anymore. I mean, you can, but you have to still give them the freebie, even if they say, but I don't want to get any more emails from you. So in Opt-in Monster, and they're probably going to be making more updates to this as well. Right now, they don't currently have the little checkbox like the MailerLite, and ConvertKit and all those should have them set up by now as well. All right, so this is the picture. They enter their stuff, and then let's go through here. Success. So my success page, be sure to check and your email and confirm so you can get on my email list and stay up to date with the blog email. Don't just say, thanks for subscribing, be sure to check your email. Yeah, I'll check my email wherever, or it may just go spam. Tell them why they need to stay on your list. Entice them. Tell them what kind of stuff you will be sending and make sure it's good. So for them, stay up to date on the latest blogging and business tools. By the way, here's the link to the Profitable Bloggers Toolbox, which is what I was promising them on the opt-in form. Okay, so I'm still giving them what I give them. I'm telling them to go confirm. And then over here, where's it at? Subscribe, settings. So this is when you're using an integration. So I'm using Opt-in Monster to get them to my list, but you have to set the configuration up in your mail system on how you want it to connect. So I have the double opt-in on. That means they sign up through the Opt-in Monster box. They have to confirm. And so when they go to their email, it's the same one almost that I had on the regular one. And then the thank you page. It's the same thing. You just kind of have to set it up as a separate thing because you're using the integration for Opt-in Monster or for lead pages or whatever opt-in lead magnet plugin you're using. It's actually really simple. And so now when they go check their email after using that box, that was the email they're going to get. They want to, they don't, but either way, I still gave them the freebie that I said I was going to give them. And this can be done with So this is the link to a URL. So this takes you to my website. If you were doing like something for them to download right then and there, it would look like this one. I'm saying, give me your email, I'll give you these things. And so the success page still has the ability for them to click on these and download it right then and there. I'm not making them wait until they actually confirm to give them, and that's how we were doing it before, okay? We can't do that anymore. Okay, a lot of information. Whose brain's about to explode? Okay. Let's go back over here. I'm going to, once we're done with the training, MailerLite sent emails this morning. And so even if you aren't using MailerLite, you're using something else, you should have received one from your own mail provider by now. But if not, it's still worth a read. Like I said, even if you don't use it, just to help, because some of them maybe better explain some of the terminology a little better. But there's some really great information in here, and you can apply that on your email provider and how you do it, okay? So I will link these in the text up here once we're done. And for those watching this as a replay, a video, not the Facebook Live in my Facebook group, I will add it to the section below the video so that you can link to it as well. Okay, now here is some examples of gathering the email for one purpose with the intention to use it for another purpose. My affiliate program. So those who join my affiliate program through Teachable, obviously I need them to join an email, right? So I can let them know about their affiliate stuff. I still need their permission. And so in the affiliate thing, I made two separate opt-ins. One that said if you want to join my email list for the affiliates, I will only send you correspondence related to being an affiliate for my school. Then there's another one right under it that says basically if you would like to join my regular email list to receive, you know, stuff related to blogging tools, blah, 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 the standard one I send to everybody, then they can opt into that one as well. So just because they opted into the affiliate program doesn't give me permission to send them information about regular blogging stuff or my newsletter or any of that, because they didn't consent to that. So anytime you're collecting it for something like a giveaway or, you know, whatever, if it doesn't directly have to do with what you regularly send in your emails, then you need to have a separate option for them to say, you know, I want your emails for this other stuff too, okay? Kimberly says, so if we have our resource library password protected, can we make them sign up to get the password, but make sure to say you can unsubscribe? No, Kimberly. Unfortunately, if you are, and this is, again, and let me make this, okay, let me say this first, and then I'm going to say something else. So with a protected password, you still, like we're on my success page, hey, go check your email, blah, 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 to confirm. I did previously have a password on mine. I took it off and redid everything, but it said, right, it would say right there, here's the link, here's the password. Again, whatever you're giving them free, whatever you're offering free, you cannot rescind that from them simply because they won't join your email list, okay? So if you have it password protected, then you need to include that password there on that success page where you say, go check your email, but as promised, here is what I said I was going to give you. You have to give it to them anyway. If that's the case, then, and you don't want to do that, then you can't offer that as a freebie, okay? Now, my opinion, this is my opinion, I've gone both ways. At one point, I had my library protected as an incentive to get subscribers. But then I went a period of making it unprotected so that anyone could just go in it. And I do still have some opt-in forms that say get access, but you can totally just go to my blog and click on the link at the top and it goes right to it. But it's just another way of, I'm not lying, but it's just different incentives for people to join me, right? Again, you want people in your email list that want what you have. But when it comes to a protected library, is that library monetized? Like my library is all my blogging tools, and I'm an affiliate for them. So yes, it's an incentive. Hey, let me see her list because she probably knows all the greatest things. But by limiting it to only people who are willing to give me their email, you're missing out on a lot of income. If your library is protected for and the things inside it are monetized, are affiliate links. Anywhere you have affiliate links, you don't want to put too many locks on the doors because that'll limit the income that comes from that. And that's like a whole nother training about monetizing your blog and increasing your affiliate income. But I would just, recommend, hey, use it still as an opt-in, have it password protected, but even if they say, I don't want to join your email list, give it to them anyway. Because if it is monetized, then you will hopefully make some money off of them, even if, and I don't mean that in a tacky way, but again, it's a resource library you created to help people, but you've also hopefully monetized it. The more people you can get in there, the better. If they don't want to join the rest of your emails, that's fine. You can still hopefully earn a commission on anything that they decide to use from your library, if that makes sense. But again, I personally took the passwords off of my library just because I want people to access it, whether they want to get all my emails or not, because if they purchase something, I will still earn a commission from it. Okay. All right, where are we at on giveaways? Okay. When conducting giveaways, do not make consent to joining your email list a requirement. We've already talked about that. Once the giveaway is complete, and this is part of the, if you read through how you can use their information, you have to let them know how long you keep it and what you do with it. So once you're done with the giveaway, now the ones who've joined your list, fine, they've already joined your email list, but that actual form, like in Rafflecopter, if that's what you're using, and most of the other ones have the same process, you can simply delete that whole thing. Do not keep the form, or if you download it as an Excel, because once the giveaway is ready to, like you're going to choose the winner, you can do it right there in the program, or you can also download the list to, have it emailed to you. Now you have their name and email and all that stuff in your email, which could be hacked. So I don't even email it to myself. I leave it all there in Rafflecopter, and then when it's over, I just delete it because I have no use for it. If they've already joined my email list, if they want to be there, and the rest of them I have no need for whatsoever, and so you shouldn't be keeping that in the system, okay? Do not add them to your subscriber list if they didn't consent, period. So on Rafflecopter specifically, when you're setting it up and you enter, and I did this training a while back, I'll post it again in our tribe, but it was showing how to do a giveaway with Rafflecopter. There was one that you could say, put your landing page to join your newsletter or whatever, and then make this option mandatory. You can't do that anymore. You can't make signing up for the email mandatory as a requirement for them to participate. Okay, so if they willingly sign up for the email, then again, go through the double opt-in where they reconfirm and all that. Okay, now here's the thing. You do a giveaway, your hope is to get some loyal subscribers. The reality is that with a lot of giveaways, a lot of people just sign up to get what you're giving away, and they could care less about getting any emails from you. That's just a price you pay, because you will get a few that are quality, and you want quality over quantity when it comes to subscribers, okay? When you're hosting a giveaway in partnership, like with a brand or third party, like once you get cool enough that brands want to work with you, I haven't gotten that cool yet myself, you cannot share the information, like you can't, like of all the people that subscribed or participated in this giveaway, so that Excel spreadsheet I was talking about that's in the Rafflecopter or whatever system you use, you cannot send that list to the third party without the explicit permission of the participants. So if you make it a policy that we do not share this, so if you want to do a giveaway with me, you understand that I will not share the list of participants with you. Now, you will need to share, obviously, the winner And so you have to announce that as part of the giveaway. The winner, your information will be shared with XYZ company, blah, blah, blah. When I inform my winner that they've won, I send them an email first. I don't announce it publicly. And in the email, I request their permission to announce their name and link to their blog and social media. I ask them, what is the blog, website, whatever, and which social medias would you like me to tag? So I'm getting their permission first before I even make the announcement. And I've actually had one winner in the past who did not want her social handles mentioned because I guess none of her family even knew about her blog. So I announced her name with a first name and last name initial. So it was like Mary B or something like that, because I didn't have her permission to announce and give out her social media information. Okay, so be very mindful of that. All right, next one, contact forms. Most of us have that contact me page and the form is created. You can adjust how the form is. That contact form, when someone enters their email details and sends you a message, you get it over kind of in where your comments are, at least on WordPress. I don't know how they are in some of the other ones. Where am I at? There I am. So when someone gives me feedback on a comment form, it'll come up here in my comments, but instead of in response to, it'll say contact form. So whatever I've asked will be all right here, right? Their IP address, their email, blah, whatever. And that's necessary because you obviously want to email them back. But I just updated mine, I think. Where did I put it? Maybe I forgot to save it. Oh, there it is. I combine my services and contact me page. I've done so many things this week, I kind of forget what I actually did. So instead of the actual contact form, that way I'm not collecting it and having to store it. I just say, if you have a question or need more information, please send me an email, and there's the email. That way they are sending me an email. They understand that by sending someone an email, obviously they're going to receive their email, leaves that, and then none of their personal data is even stored on my website. I just personally chose to do that myself. But if you do have the contact form, make sure after you've responded to them, whatever, you can't reply if it's a contact form. Let me find one. I think I deleted it already. Yeah, this one. I kept hers because she wants me to contact her. But email them and then delete it. Okay, don't even save that information because you don't need to collect that and keep it. Okay, whoops. Here's one that many of you may not have even thought about. The comment settings on your blog. How many of you have gone to comment, like if you participated in comment threads and you try to comment and you have to enter your name, you have to enter an email, or if it's one like with Discus, you have to log in. I won't leave comments if they require me to log in, period. So on your blog settings, didn't need to do that. And this is actually written out in some of that GDPR language that's really hard to understand. It'll be in settings. I think it's under discussion. Comments. Okay. I had this one. Comment author must fill out name and email. So, it'll say name, email, URL, like blog, website, whatever, and then it'll have the big white box for them to type in their comment. That'll still show up, but by unchecking this, it won't have the little asterisk on it saying name and email is mandatory. Now, in your privacy statement, which we will get to, you can specify that they can put a fake name, which you can put a fake name in that anyway. But by unchecking this, it makes it to where it's not a mandatory. So they can skip those and still hit submit, and the comment will post. Now, if you're worried about spam and things like that, then obviously have your spam protector like a Kismet or one of those. I right now have mine open. I had a problem with spam a little while back. I had a troll leaving the stupidest comments ever. And so I made it where here, before a comment appears, comment must be manually approved. So you can totally set that if you're worried about spam comments. But again, you can't require people to leave that information, because when they leave their name and email on there, that leaves more of their data. And then anyone who's commenting can then go and mess with them, basically. It's kind of, in a nutshell, how to look at it. So don't make that a mandatory option. Okay. So we talked about the emails and subscribers. That was that one I showed you. Yours can look however you want. Make sure you have a link to your privacy policy on every email. Make sure the unsubscribe button is highly visible. How many of you have received emails like you signed up for, I don't know, Old Navy or something, and you keep getting, because I used to sign up for everything. I used to be big time into coupons, and so I have an email account specifically for all that. And I do get some good ones, so I don't want to delete all, but some of them I just get so many, and I try to unsubscribe, and you have to read through like this book at the bottom in their footer to actually find the unsubscribe button. Like if this was the paragraph, that would be the unsubscribe button, and that's unacceptable. The unsubscribe button needs to be obvious, like by itself. They don't have to search for it, okay? So just be mindful of that. All right. Privacy policy. So what needs to be in it? Your intended purpose for processing the data, and this is just some bullet points. There's more in depth to it, and that's why you really need to read through it. But your intended purpose, why are you collecting my data, and what is your lawful basis for processing it? The other things that you need to include, but are not limited to, the identity and contact details of the controller, you, how they can contact you if they have a problem, the purpose of the processing and the basis for processing it, the legitimate interests of the controller or third party where applicable, and that's when we're talking about like, you know, doing a third-party giveaway or something like that. Also, it talks in that, you know, piece about all your outbound links. Anything that you link to, your affiliates, if you have ads, you have, you know, anything you just link to someone else's website, that's considered a third party. And so you have to address that. The categories of data you might collect, what exact information are you collecting from them? The retention period, that's how long you're keeping it. The existence of each of data subject's rights, the right to withdraw at any time, that's their right to unsubscribe, and the right to lodge a complaint. You must also provide prompt notice of any data breach. So, you know, if your site gets hacked or something, you have to send out a notice. Just like how, you know, Facebook said, oh, we were breached, whatever. I doubt you'll end up on the evening news, but you still have to send it out. All right, so let me go to my privacy policy. And again, I am still working on mine. Let me close all these out. And my initial one that I got when I first got the blog, I just Googled it. Templates. I looked at different ones, and I went and visited several other well-known bloggers and other just general websites that weren't even blogs, and kind of looked at theirs. And there's basic templates you can get, and over the next few months you will probably start seeing more and more that are GDPR specific. Just be mindful, it actually says in the GDPR paperwork that I forgot exactly the wording of it, but that to get the template, people can't like sell you GDPR compliant templates. They have to help you, you know, for free or something like that. You can look up more on that. But so I just kind of went through, this is my terms of use. I actually had these on 2 different pages, but I combined them. So my privacy policy at the bottom. And just go through, you know, and look at mine again. Don't copy and paste mine and then say, okay, I'm good to go, because again, I could be missing things. I'm just going along as everyone else is until they get an outright policy that says this is exactly how yours should look. And so the whole point is that you are actively making an attempt to become compliant, okay? So you have to tell them, if you disagree with this policy, discontinue the use of this site. If they choose to go on, they are subject to all the things that you're telling them. What am I collecting? Emails, names, credit cards. I do collect credit card information for my coaching services or my audit services for blogging, but I don't have my own like payment gateway. Like I don't use Stripe or something like that. I use PayPal. PayPal is how I deal with it. So I personally do not store their information. However, it may be stored in accordance with PayPal's terms of service. So if they are using PayPal, they should already know this, but I'm letting them know. We collect the email addresses by way of opt-in forms and subscribe forms. This information is only used for the purposes of our own email list. We utilize our email to keep our subscribers informed of new blog posts and out monthly newsletter, and send other emails specifically related to tips and resources for blogging and business. You will always have the ability and right to opt in to our email list, as well as the ability to unsubscribe. Tell them where it's at. When you unsubscribe, both your name and email will be removed from our database. Under here, I actually need to put a bold word here. Like many sites, we collect the information that your browser sends, the log data. That's talking about like the IP addresses and all that. Your email server will have that information as well that is viewable. When you use Google Analytics, you can see that information. So you just have to let them know. And that's a pretty standard blurb that you'll find on just about everyone's. Like literally, I didn't make any changes to this because I saw the same wording everywhere. Tell them about the cookies, and right after when I tell them about the cookies, I bolded this. And then this is about our advertising partners, because yes, I use cookies, but any outbound link, you're going to go to their websites. They use cookies also. So even if you disable your cookies, you need to make sure it's disabled, period, or else when they leave me and go to another site, if they didn't disable it in entirety, it'll still be collecting data. And then I tell them you can turn it off, but it may affect your ability to access some portions of our website. Personal information use and sharing, just reiterating, this website is hosted by SiteGround, which is a third party. I use MailerLite and Webmail for my email, and various third-party plugins and software. So all of the plugins, everything really except for the words that I literally type, everything is used by another third party. And so because all of those are connected, they may also utilize some of the data. So email, well, you give it to me, but when I add you to my email list, now MailerLite has it. And then MailerLite has its own terms of use and privacy policy and all that. So I'm just letting them know. Third-party sites that your information will be shared with because of the intended purpose. So the cookies, that information is shared with SiteGround because, well, SiteGround hosts me. Your email is shared with MailerLite, well, because, that's my email, and so forth. Except otherwise stated, we do not sell, rent, or otherwise share, trade, whatever, without your consent. So that's just letting them know. Nobody can come to me and say, hey, Girl Bosses Rock, I want to buy your email list. We don't do that. Yes, there are companies that do sell their email lists, but we do not do that. The information you provide. When you leave a comment on this site, you are giving implied consent for this comment and your information to appear on the website. Although you would think, duh, you just commented on a public website, you still have to address it, okay? In leaving a comment, your name and email address will not be shared with any third party. We may use your email address solely to respond to your comment. However, we're not liable for or responsible for the actions of other individuals and the unauthorized use of such information that you voluntarily share. Although the name and email boxes are present on the forms, you're not required to provide them, basically is what I'm telling them. We have public social media accounts and sharing options on our website, so all your social share buttons. If you choose to interact on social media, you're advised that any of your actions are publicly available. Again, duh, it's social media. You still have to say it in your policy. I commented on your Facebook. I didn't know everybody was going to see it. Yeah, people actually can do those things. If you choose to share a testimonial on this website or via email, you grant Girl Boss the permission to use this information on the website via email and on our social media accounts. Just letting them know. I just announced that I'll be accepting guest post submissions. So in my write-up on it, it says if you decide to make a submission, then you understand that I can basically share that post anywhere that I want in line with what I normally do. Okay, that's just all it says. Email marketing, everything we've already talked about, I just summarized it. And then again, how they can contact you if you have a problem. So I have that at the bottom of the terms of service, and then at the bottom again. I don't have a form, it just, hey, here's how you contact me. My terms of use kind of has some of the same information, it's just a little more summarized. My disclaimer, this is my stuff, it's my opinions. I do work with third parties, but I don't necessarily, how do you say, approve or, have their viewpoints. Talk about the affiliates, talk about third-party links, intellectual property, and giveaways. So that's kind of it. I'm sure there's more information that I'm supposed to have on here, but again, this is an evolving creature, this GDPR compliance, and so I just keep getting all these messages where everyone's freaking out, and I understand why you're freaking out, but the main point is that you're making forward movement and you're making an attempt to get compliant. But when you have attorneys saying they still are trying to decipher the terminology and what it says, if the attorneys can't figure it out, they're not going to send you to jail and they're not going to take all your money because you haven't figured it out. Okay, so just start making and implementing the stuff that you can. Your opt-in forms, get those compliant. I mean, I just showed you, it was very simple to do. Get your privacy policy. So my privacy policy, aside from being at the bottom of every email, it's a link. I have down here in my legal section, privacy policy. Most people have them here in the footer. Some people have it up here. I have 2 navigation menus. And you could actually, at the bottom of like the service fee, you could set it up in your footer or other area to where it shows. I mean, there's different ways. It just needs, I went and checked a few websites this week. And funny thing, these were websites of bloggers who had recently made a post about GDPR. And I could not find their privacy policy anywhere on their websites. So note to self, if you're going to make a blog post about something telling other people what to do, make sure your website kind of reflects that. Let's see. Okay, so it's right there. And then again, like I said, it's at the bottom of all outbound emails. And, the opt-in form before they confirm. You need to make sure that they can read it if they want. Most people aren't even going to read it. And again, all of this is targeted towards EU. Now, I've been asked this question, so I'll go ahead and address it. Can I just say I want to block all the people from the EU? Well, you can. You can contact your host provider, your web host, and I think they have some way that they can block the IP addresses coming from, certain geographic locations. Like I know Korea did it all the time. I'm sure Russia's done it too. And we've seen that on the news. So, it's doable. I don't know if they charge you for it or anything like that, but it is doable. But, if you're not an EU blogger, for those of you in the EU, you have no choice but to comply with this. And in addition to everything we've talked about, you also still have the registration that you have to, pay a fee and register with the ICO and all of that. But for everyone that's not EU and, you don't have a substantial following from the EU, do you really want to say I'm not dealing with the EU anymore? I mean, you can, and I'm not trying to make this sound like a judgmental comment, but I guess there's no other way to make it sound. I don't know. It's a personal decision, so if you want to do that and not deal with the hassle, that's fine. But at the end of the day, we still need to be protecting everyone's data, period. And so having stricter controls, you know, really isn't a bad thing. And when it comes to, like, you know, some people who have a lot of people on their list, really go back and look at your analytics. How many of your 1,000 people email list are actually opening your emails? So send that email out that says, hey, this is what's going on. I know many of you have probably gotten emails from anything you've ever signed up for, like where you shop and this, that, and the other, because everyone's getting them. You should have already seen them by now. You know, I get them from Under Armour. I get them from every store I've ever shopped at that I'm signed up for their newsletter. So everyone kind of should know something's going on. They probably think it has to do with like the Facebook data breach, but it's just across the board, making sure that we're all keeping up with the, you know, hackers basically, and protecting people's data. And so when it comes to scrubbing your email list, I've promoted that. I've done a training on it before. Do your spring cleaning, include your email list. If they're not opening your emails, get rid of them. For one, if you're on MailerLite's free program that's, you know, you get up to 1,000 subscribers before you have to start paying for it. Hey, I'm all good with keeping 500 subscribers because then it keeps MailerLite free for me. Because those other 500 hadn't even been opening my email. They've been on the list for a year and hadn't opened a single email. Why am I keeping them? You want people that want to follow you. So if you scrub it, if you send out that, hey, I need you to reconfirm, and they don't, is that such a bad loss? Okay. Are there any questions for those of you here that are live? I know it's a lot to take in. And I'm going to try to do a few more actual videos that I can upload on the individual, like creating from scratch, creating an opt-in form or creating a form in MailerLite, which even if you use something else like ConvertKit, you should start seeing more training or blogs on their own pages or emails to you, giving you tips and tricks on how to do this. You should start seeing that stuff coming now because everyone's in the rush to get their own compliance. And once they've become compliant as a service provider, then they're going to start sending out more information for you as their customers on how to use their product properly. So you will start seeing more information and training coming. It's just right now everyone's in the stretch to get their own stuff compliant. So Kimberly said that was a ton of helpful information. Yeah, it's a lot. Fortunately, you know, I just process information. My ADD comes in really helpful with this kind of stuff. And I've been working hard all week, getting all my forms compliant and trying to make training at the same time so that, you know, we can all do this together. I mean, I could have waited till I got everything in order, but then that would have given y'all like, you know, a week or two to get compliant as possible. And that's just not, you know, beneficial. So as I learn new things, I will definitely keep you updated. You know, again, don't freak out. Don't like, oh, I'm just going to stop blogging. I'm going to shut my blog down. That's really not necessary. You've put so much effort into it and probably money too. With anything, just update it. Just, you know, these minor things, they might seem like a lot. It's really not. You know, most of you are new, like I said before, so you don't have a huge following anyway at this point. And so it's a lot easier to get it up and running now in the way it needs to be. And then, you know, in a few months when the next big, hey, we're going to change this, then you'll be like, oh, okay, cool. Let's move on to the next hurdle and redo our whole blogs because of this person changing their policy or whatever. It's just part of online business. You can get frustrated with it. You can get mad. You know, but that's not going to benefit you. This is just the world we live in now, and we have to stay on top of it, and that's all it amounts to. So, again, if you have any questions for those of you in my tribe, just leave your comments. If you're watching the replay, please comment replay, #replay, just so we can track the analytics for it. Yes, I will be tracking you because you're on my Facebook group. LOL. If you are watching this as a standalone video, because I am recording it, please comment in the it'll be uploaded to YouTube. So please comment if you have questions, or if you have found some helpful information, please share that as well, because I'd love to send out, you know, you can read what I wrote, but somebody else might can write it a whole lot better, and anything that can help you better understand all of this is what I want. So definitely share any other information that you come across. All right, so I know that was a lot. You probably need to go